This is the Behind Closed Doors podcast, a podcast that talks about real life issues as seen through the lens of a millennial. We are not our circumstances are a part of us. So join me as we unpack these conversations.
Who are you?
I'm a beautiful, strong Black woman.
Today's guest is a former radio and TV host who is also a talented up-and-coming voiceover artist with a golden voice. She is the host of the soon-to-be-launched parenting podcast called Ima, which is Lozi for Mother. She values family and enjoys spending time with loved ones outside of work, which is part of the inspiration for her podcast. The other part involves changing the way people look at the journey to motherhood and the life thereafter.
So, we have Mercy here. Mercy, welcome to Behind Closed Doors.
Thank you for having me, Cece.
I am so excited to have you on the mic. I've been trying to have this conversation with you for the longest time.
And whose fault was it? Whose fault was it that we didn't have it earlier?
Oh my goodness. And today, this person has me up at 3 in the morning doing a podcast.
It's the only way we could make it work. During the day, over the weekend, kind of seemed impossible because of the so many things that I had to do.
I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm really excited for the conversation that we're about to have.
Same. I'm psyched.
So, just give us a little background about yourself, an insight to Mercy.
Mercy comes from a just a traditional family, mom, dad, kids. There's 10 of us in the family. Yeah, we're 9 siblings. But I didn't grow up with all of them. I don't want to call three of them my step siblings, but just for the sake of clarity, that. So I grew up with like 6 of my siblings in Chingola. I'm a Kopala person. A lot of people won't catch that. I don't know why. I mean, clearly, I'm from the Copper Belt.
I would never have pegged you for that. Never.
I didn't even want to get into this conversation because now I have to start pointing out what's Kopala about me or what you missed. But we'll just move on. So, I'm from the Copper Belt, born and raised. I came to Lusaka in 2008. So a lot of my origin story is from the Copper Belt, and I was a very I don't remember myself being a shy kid, but there were some moments. My growing up I was surrounded by a lot of friends around the neighborhood, a lot of neighbors you called aunties and uncles. So it's a little village on its own. It's a little, I don't know what it's called, a town, because Chingola is the town, but like the specific place is Lulamba. That's where I grew up. And preschool, I went to a little school at our church. I remember that. And I was a pretty bright kid, I was a pretty bright kid. I don't know where it all went wrong, but I was pretty bright starting out. And I was, I continued like that. From grade 1 to 7, I was at Chingola Basic. And then I went to Chikola Secondary, where my older sister was, and that's the school that I wanted to go to. But in grade 8, like that was 2008, I got summoned to Lusaka, and I didn't want to come here, but my sister helped me see why I needed to come here, and it was because my parents needed help with, they had 7 kids, and all of us had to go to school. And if there's somebody that's going to reach out and say, can I help with one? Obviously, they were glad to hand over. They had already done that with my sister. So I was next, and somebody offered help. And yeah, that's how I came to Lusaka, even though I didn't want to. I've got attachment issues. You know, when I stick to a place, I stick to a place. So I've got a lot of my heart in Chingola. You know, it's home. It will always be home. That's a little bit of my origin story.
You know, the 10 children was very interesting to me because I have never been in a big home. I'm from a very small home. So the thought of it is like, wow.
Oh my God. It was 7 of us, and for some reason, mom and dad still managed to also have dependents. I think we had like 3 dependents, like, you know, cousins. So it was, and you never really notice it as a kid, right? You never notice when you're struggling, when things are not going okay. You're just like, oh, so we have cousins that are here, and, you know, they're sleeping in the living room. And sometimes I have to sleep in the living room. And it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know how it was with you and a smaller family, but it was always packed in our home. It was always loud. I grew up in a setup like that. So I love the idea of being around family because it's healing in a lot of ways.
And that is why you love love.
That's why I love love. I guess that's where I got it from because, you know, sibling love, it's unconditional. You hate them, but you love them. So,
yeah. So I want us to have a conversation of what I recently found out to be the 4th trimester. So that is after birth, right?
mm-hmm.
I will love to hear about the process, but I'm more interested in you as the mother because for the most part we are always, this is how you should take care of a baby, this is what to do when you give birth, but never about the mother. So I want us to have a conversation about that.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, there's a lot of things I have to say when it comes to pregnancy, the journey that is not as easy as some people make it out to be. The 4th trimester. Oh my goodness. You don't even notice that it's happening to you because they don't address it. Maybe in some setups they do, in some clinics they do, but the clinic that I attended, going for antenatal and stuff, they don't really dig deep. Maybe it's because it's a large number of people and, you know, they're just giving out the basic information that they can, and they're expecting that there's people at home that are going to take over from where they left off. And sometimes the people from home also don't know about certain things, and so you put your trust in the medical professionals and you think they're telling you everything, but they're not. And sometimes they might touch on it, but they don't speak about it at length. So after giving birth, which was, I gave birth a week and a half before my actual due date. This is because of something else that needs to be addressed. I had a condition called preeclampsia, and I used to go to the clinic a lot. What's that?
You had a condition called what?
Preeclampsia. So it's the swelling of the legs and just pretty much all over your body. For me, it was all over my body. So I had, as much as I had gained weight, some of it was I was just swollen everywhere. My face was puffy. My hands, I couldn't wear my wedding ring anymore because it was small. And my feet, my legs, they were like 3 times their size now. I have a picture that I will show you. Don't be shocked. It happened. So it's normal in most cases, but you know, and that's what I kept that's what I kept hearing at the clinic every time I went there. Because I was a first time mom, so I was obsessed with my baby. I was obsessed with myself and my health. So I went to the clinic for a very, the tiniest things. If I feel like I've had a headache for 3 days, I'm going to go in and I will ask about it. And I trusted everything that they told me. If they told me it was normal, then I'm certainly going to be at peace. And like, okay, cool. So everything is just normal, whatever it is that I'm going through. But with the preeclampsia, I kept going there, and they kept telling me it was normal. It was normal. It's normal. It's normal. But I spent most of my days on Google, and so Google said the feet can swell, yes, but if you have pain, that's a problem. And I had pain, and I told them that, but they just said it was normal. And so the last antenatal appointment that we had, my husband and I, he went with me for every one of them. He didn't skip one. So the last appointment we went for, and there I was thinking, oh, my baby's due in a week and a half. And so they saw me, and they did their test, which they usually did, but they didn't raise any alarm. So they saw me, and then they were in a panic. These are people that I found there almost all the time, and they were in a panic. So they caused me to panic, like, well, what's happening? All of a sudden, they said, we're taking you to the big hospital so that they know what to do about the baby. They know how to deliver the baby. I was like, how to deliver what baby that is not yet due? So things just flipped over that day. I'm glad I took the day off and didn't say, oh, I'm going to come in for work later. I took the whole day off, which was good because it was just so unexpected. So now they were showing me that the condition I was in was actually quite serious, but I didn't even know how serious it really was. So I went to the clinic, I went to the big hospital where they referred me to. Luckily, we had all of the baby's things. So after I got there, the people outside, the doctors that I found that side, explained a little further about the condition, and they told me how it was dangerous for me and for my baby. But even then, I was pretty chill about it because I was thinking, I've never really heard about this condition before, so I'm pretty sure it's not that serious. So after giving birth to the baby, which was, I had to be induced. I mean, I only had one baby, and the labor I experienced was my only one. I don't have any other labor to compare it to, but I hear the induction is, when they induce you, that's when the labor is like, it's crazy. So I guess I had the crazy kind of pain, but I think everything went as well as it could. And I had a healthy baby boy, and it all starts from there because you're so used to being pregnant, but now you have the actual person here, which is a great moment. It's a beautiful moment, but I expected something else. I feel like I didn't feel the connection with my son that I was looking forward to the whole pregnancy. I feel like it wasn't there, and this is something I've never actually admitted to anybody, not even to my husband, because I'm scared of how I'm going to be looked at, and these are normal things. I've read about them, but I'm just so scared of how I'm going to be looked at. Like, what? You didn't love your child like that? Because everybody expects you to in that moment, so when obviously I was like, I was so happy. I was so happy to have my son here with me, but it's like there was just something there that was kind of like it was a little wall. It wasn't a huge wall that was there between us. There was like a little wall there that I couldn't get over, to go over to my son and love him the way I wanted to love him, the way I planned to love him once he got here. It scared me. It scared me a little because this was a feeling that lasted for months. I remember in the beginning, I never even, I wouldn't go in a shop or a store and I just want to buy him stuff, you know. His dad was doing that. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Do I not love my child? I do, but like, why am I not feeling it the way I want to feel it? And you can't have that conversation with anybody because they expect you to be happy. They're happy for you. Oh, the baby, oh, the baby. You know, people that have probably gone through it too, the fourth trimester, they're not really addressing anything apart from, like, you know, just your physical well-being. They're not really addressing the mental well-being. It's not talked about enough. It's not talked about enough.
And through all this change, now that the baby's born, you don't feel the love. How was the relationship between you and your partner?
A lot of things. He was going for work, so I kind of felt like, I was just like, why aren't men given some time off from work also, you know, even a month to just, it's your partner needs you there. Why aren't they given paternity leave that lasts for at least even a month? You know, a week is nice, yes, but it's not enough. The baby is still very little. We both need to bond with the baby, and we both need to try and get through this first month. As much as we have the whole journey ahead of us, but at least let's start together. So it was me getting frustrated all the time because I felt like I was doing it alone. My mom was here to help, yes, but I share a different relationship with my mom as I do with my husband. So I would still get frustrated and feel like I was in this alone while he's sleeping and the baby is, you know, getting up in the middle of the night. And he used to get up in the middle of the night. It was like every 45 minutes, every hour, every half hour. So I got very little sleep. So already that messed with me, and I already had my mental health issues. I was frustrated. I was upset most of the time, but you have to keep going. You know, I don't know if anybody around the house noticed that I just wasn't in the mood, man. I just wasn't in the mood for it all. So I think there were some arguments and a little resentment towards my husband because I felt like I was doing it alone. It was a little bit of a crazy period because here's the baby we've been waiting for a long time, and we've been waiting for him for a long time. It was very, very planned, and we had already given him a name way before. So we always wanted to meet Rio. He's Rio. He's here, and it's just not the fairy tale that we expected it to be. And I wish that I knew all of those things. I could have addressed it better. I could have, I don't know, made a proper schedule for myself. Maybe seen a therapist about it. But it's just, those things are not really addressed a lot. They're not really addressed. Couples should be sat down to tell them about the realities, especially if they've never had a child before. Tell them the realities of what could happen. What could happen between them? What could happen between them and they? All of those things need to be addressed. There's just very little information, very little awareness. It's crazy. It's terrible. It doesn't really prepare us for the journey as much as I would like it to.
So now, as you are struggling with the mental health, how did you finally pull yourself together and get out of it?
It's something, honestly, that just happened gradually. You know, it just kind of fades away. Because in the first place, I didn't even notice that it had set in. You know, and just yesterday, I was speaking to a young mother. Her son turns 1 today. Yeah. And she said, you know, it's been so hectic. I'm trying to do, I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to do my business here. And my husband, he works out of town. My husband is away, comes in just a few days a week or even over the weekend. And I have to get up early in the morning. And after I've been breastfeeding the whole night, I get up early in the morning to clean up and just, just be a wife. Plus a hustler. She said, I almost got into a state of depression, but all of the feelings, all of the things she was describing sounded like somebody who was already depressed. So I said, I think you may have already been depressed, and you didn't put a label on it, and she just accepted it. Said, you know what? Yeah, I think I was depressed. I think she actually is depressed now because it's a whole thing. So I kind of just I slipped into that state of depression without even noticing it, because I thought, okay, so this is what I guess most new mothers feel. But then again, I was disappointed with myself because we see the posts on Facebook, we see the posts on their Instagrams, and mothers look crazy about their babies, and they look nice and fresh and clean. When the baby is just a month old or 2 weeks old, that was not me. It wasn't me. So I kind of slipped into that state. And I didn't notice it, and I just thought maybe I'm just a bit different. Maybe I'm just sucking at this. But as my son grew, and all of a sudden the bonding just started to happen. And I'm so glad I'm at this point right now where I love him so much. I love this little human being more than anybody in my life. I didn't see that coming, but I'm glad that it happened. I can't pinpoint the exact day, the date when I started to heal, I started to get out of that state I was in. I can't tell you what exactly pulled me out of there. But I guess one of the things is just the love I have for my son, and when it started to manifest, it just helped me, because then I started to grow in confidence. Somebody's mother, I took pride in that, and I'm so proud of that. I'm someone's mother. That's part of my identity now. It helps to say it out loud. It's like an affirmation. You brought a human into this world. Give yourself some credit. Pick yourself up. He needs you. He needs you to be in the right state of mind. And I guess it just kind of happened. I just started feeling better. And that is when I looked back and said, girl, you were depressed and you didn't know it. Because I started to I started to be in moods that I hadn't been in a long time. I started to feel good. I started to feel light in my chest, I started to want to look good. And I noticed that, okay, I guess I may have been depressed, and I'm not a bad parent or a bad partner. I just had a little phase. Nobody knew, not even myself.
What are some of the major challenges that you faced, both through the pregnancy and post?
Through the pregnancy, just like I said, not enough information about a lot of things. And these are things like there's some mothers that don't even know, they don't know how to use diapers. The only thing they've ever known is how to use nappies. And there's mothers that don't know about nappies, and all they've ever known is diapers. And they don't know that there's that alternative. There's some mothers I heard complaining about, I think this is something that you may have heard before too. When somebody's talking about having a baby, they'll always say about the price of diapers. Yeah, but I think I had it easy because I started with nappies, and my son was on nappies for a long time, so that reduced on the cost. They don't give you these things, they give you these little tips. I guess you get it from home, but there's no guarantee. Some people don't have anybody at home to tell them that. And that's one of the things I noticed during my pregnancy that wasn't really addressed, and also the 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 moods, the mental health issues during the pregnancy. They might get to you because you start to act up and your partner thinks, no way, this is the baby. This is just you. And it causes that. I feel like there should be counseling. It's 9 whole months. I think there should be counseling every 2 months, maybe, or maybe when you go to antenatal and you're up for doing a little bit of couples counseling, do that just so you keep on addressing those issues as they come. You get professional help right there. A stitch in time saves 9. The irony, right? 9 months. Yeah, so that's one of the other things too. Again, not enough information about my condition, what could happen. We'll tell you about the things to look out for, the basic things to look out for. This is what you look out for when your labor starts. This is what you look out for if you are not close to labor and danger signs like the bleeding and stuff. You're not close to labor. That's like a telltale sign. Something could be wrong, but they don't tell you. They never talked about my case, my situation. I don't think they even, after they saw me, I don't think they went towards the other expecting mothers that came in to me to the following day saying, oh, there's a woman that came here and she had preeclampsia. Sometimes they call it edema or something like that. Please watch out for that. I don't think they did that. So I see it's these very important issues that we keep pushing to the back of the conversation, and we need to have those. We need to face those head on. Another issue is that they don't talk about the possibility of having special needs children. I don't think they talk about that enough. Again, if there's going to be some sort of counseling, they should address this. What are you going to do? What would you do if you had a child that's got special needs? Because it's usually a shock for the mother. And for us in Zambia, I don't think we have that technology that shows you the possible what am I talking about?
The possible effect on the fetus.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. I don't think there is anything like that so far. If it's there, then it's really expensive and stressful. Rich people, and we don't have we don't have a lot of. Okay, we do, but there's babies being born everywhere. Some of us wouldn't be able to afford that. They don't tell you. At least the least they can do is let you know of the many things that your child could be born with. And it's not like you're giving yourself bad luck by preparing for the possibility of that, but at least you'd be in the know, and you'd know what next to do if that happened. Those are some of the challenges during pregnancy. After pregnancy, the 4th trimester, they still don't address it when you go through the postpartum checkups. I remember the first one we went to was after 2 weeks, and they just checked my tummy, and if it was, I'd say growing back well, okay, nothing in the tummy, pretty much just the physical stuff. They don't ask you how you're doing mentally, have you been eating well, are you eating as usual, are you feeding the baby okay, are you connecting with the baby? They don't ponder on the mental health, and that's a really, really important topic. Really important issues that we need to be talking about. And also just the support from my partner. I'm not blaming him. He's got a job that's kind of hard to get out of. So even employees need to take that into account. You're gonna start a company, you know that possibly babies that are going to be born, have backup. Are you bringing in a temp so this person can go and bond with their child, or you're threatening to fire them if they don't come through? It's crazy. Those are some of the challenges I can address now, but there's more, I'm sure. I just can't remember them.
It sounds so hectic, and as we were speaking, I was like, you had mentioned you couldn't tell anyone that you were struggling because you didn't want people to think you're not a good parent, you're not a good partner. So now it gets me thinking, how was your support system through this journey?
So the support system, it was my mom played a very huge role. She was here for 2 months after my son was born, and she was the best. She did everything. I miss her. I wish she was here right now. She's on the cover belt, but she would sweep the house. I did not have the energy for that. I couldn't pick myself up mentally like that. All I wanted to do was just to lie in bed and just be taking care of the baby and trying to see if I can bond with this guy. So she did most of the work. She went to the clinic with me after he was born. She offered advice as much as she could. My sister also, would visit every now and then. So I can't say that I had a lot of people, coming in to help, but my mom played most of the parts. So she was the support system, and my husband did as much as he could too. He loves his son. He was willing to do a lot. So that was pretty helpful. Yeah.
Knowing what you know now and everything you've been through, what advice would you give to expectant moms?
From my own experience, I say if you can get a second opinion about things, especially if you have this nagging feeling that something may not be right. Yes, sometimes they'll tell you not to really listen to what Google is saying, but there's people that are posting real life experiences there. And if you can find credible sources, credible platforms of people that have been through these things, that's great. Follow those. I was tracking my progress through Baby Center, and it's a great platform. There's mothers there that are addressing different issues, and you more often than not, you'll find a post that's talking about your situation. So you can, go through the comments, get an idea. And if somebody's telling you something that's not making sense at the clinic, get a second opinion. Also, explore, what could possibly, I don't want to say go wrong, with the pregnancy, with the baby, just to be ready. Because when something hits you like, losing a baby, I've had a scare like that. And so I was not ready for that. So those are things that you should think about. You're not jinxing yourself. I don't think you're jinxing yourself. A lot of people would say, just think positive thoughts. But there's also something called toxic positivity. And so if you feel like, the baby hasn't moved in a while, I've felt like one kick when I feel like 10 in this space of time. It's okay to start thinking about the possibility of something going wrong. Just brace yourself, because these things do happen. It happened to somebody close to me. They had the same condition I had, which is when it really sunk in for me that I could have possibly died, and also my son could have died, or I could have just lost my baby, or they could have just lost me. Somebody close to me lost their baby, and it was only a week after the baby had been in the tummy. Can you believe that? She went for an antenatal visit, and they did not catch that her baby wasn't moving. They said, "Oh yeah, it's fine, it's okay," and sent her back home. A week later, she, mother's intuition, she just said, "I don't think my baby is moving." And so when she had a scan, they found that the baby was lost because she had swelled so much from the preeclampsia. It had suffocated the baby. And so that's when that was like 2 years down the line. And that's when my situation, my condition was clear to me of how much danger both me and my son were in. They don't talk about that enough. They do not talk about that enough. So young mothers, new mothers, explore what could go wrong and right for your pregnancy, just to be ready for everything. So if you feel like you don't love your child, the time will come when you will. It won't last. I've got a lot to say, but I'll just say that.
It's so sad that even the services that are meant to be there to help or catch such things are not, because if you're going to wait 2 weeks and my baby is not moving and you tell me that it's okay, that is so unfortunate. And imagine the trauma.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There's really need for people to start speaking about these things that are not being talked about enough, to avoid future mothers from having to experience the same things.
Yeah, that's true. And so I'm gonna steal your platform for a bit here and just mention that I want to be one of those people that's pushing the agenda on addressing such things. And so I've been planning on starting a podcast. Oh my God. Since before I gave birth, I've been planning on starting a podcast about parenting and just putting the information out there. So I would like my first episodes to air on my son's birthday. Initially, I wanted it to air on my birthday, but doesn't make sense. So my son's birthday, November 28th. So I'm working on that, and I want the platform to be so credible. I want to have credible guests with very, very useful information that is tailored to our country. Because I was so tired of going online, Googling what I'm supposed to be eating during my first trimester for my baby to do what, for my baby to have, the good brains, for my baby to have strong bones. And some of the things are just things that are not even in the store when you go to the local store. It's not there. So I would like to create a platform where people are told like the practical things that are in our community, things that are easily accessible. If somebody from a certain area hears it and it's an area that's not, high end, they can still access that. It doesn't have to be all fancy, Nancy. There's just so much. I don't know why we're not in the culture of posting about such things. A lot of articles in Zambia there's not really a lot of information. We're not writing. Where are the writers? Where are the people with the blogs about such things to interview us as mothers and post those things? Real life stories to help somebody out there. So that's a gap that I want to cover. And there's going to be a lot of people on board. Because obviously I'm not a writer. I mean, I can write a post, but there's people that have gone to school for this journalism and stuff. And so I'd like to recruit such people. We work together to spread the information and awareness on a lot of things. And I would like to have medical professionals on my podcast that can help to just address these things and help mothers out there with whatever questions they may have. I'd say more, but it's still in the works. I have a lot of hope for it, and I hope that it reaches the masses that I'm planning for it to reach, because it's going to change lives. It's going to help a lot of people.
That sounds very amazing, and we will definitely be the community that pushes this agenda for you and stands with you, because just this brief conversation that we've had, I'm now like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I'm having a baby? How am I going to racing this whole time you've been speaking? My baby's racing. How am I going to behave? What am I supposed to do? How am I going to get the necessary help, So I think it's very important that you do that and educate people like me who are planning on babies and all that. So, in conclusion, who have you become?
Well, I've become Rio's mommy. Rio's mama, that's what he can say right now. He's 2, but he doesn't talk just yet. Again, something that they did not really tell me about. And so I'm out here panicking and having anxiety about my son, when, it could have been something that could have been addressed earlier. So I've become Rio's mommy. I have become I've definitely become more mature in handling some situations. I've become stronger, definitely. Whether you like it or not, you are going to become stronger, especially if you're there for your child. You're there for your family. I've become that. I've become more confident. I've become more accepting of myself, and just whatever I come with, that's just, it's me. I'm living my life a day at a time as Rio's mommy.
And for people that want to connect with you and join the movement of spreading awareness for new mothers, expectant mothers, and everything in between, where can people find you and how can they reach you?
I wish that I could say that I had a page on Facebook or, other social platforms, but I don't think that I have yet. If I have, then probably called Ima. I forget. I think I did make a page on Facebook called Ima. Ima is a Lozi word meaning mother, and that's what I'd like to call my podcast. But in the meantime, y'all can just find me on Facebook, Mercy Nalungwe, or on Instagram. I think it's Mercy Nalungwe also. I'm hardly ever on Instagram though. I don't know my if it's a handle. Let's not even go to Twitter, because no, I haven't been there for years. But all of these platforms will be up and running, especially under the Ima brand, under the Ima podcast, so that we can reach as many people as possible. But alternatively, the more direct the form of contact is just my number that is also on WhatsApp. It's 0978-079584. So we can get this baby going.
My darling, this has been such an insightful and amazing conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming to Behind Closed Doors.
Thank you for joining me on Behind Closed Doors podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, please share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, please leave us a review on any platform that you may be listening to us from. For now, goodbye, darling. Till next time.